Good morning, everybody. What a large crowd we have this morning. We usually don't have this many people, so this is great. So we'll stand for the pledge, and then we will get rolling. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hey-o! Right out the gate. Coming in hot this morning. We will have order.
I'm cutting them off now.
Okay, so like I said, thank you for being here, and we'll get right into the agenda. So we have a quorum. We are good to go. And I just need approval for the minutes of the last meeting. So I need a motion for that.
Motion approved. Second.
Okay, motion is second. All in favor? Aye. That passes. And we are on to the, does anybody have any announcements? Great. We're just slicing through this thing. Old business, matrix update.
So I'm gonna pull up the matrix on the screen for those in the audience. But in your packet, we have our quarterly matrix that includes everything for the year. I noted the native plant list Michelle was working on, and Jeff was able to participate and provide some good feedback associated with it. So we have at this point have basically a final document that's submitted to planning for their reference and usage whenever there's restoration projects or anything else. And I apologize. Remember to turn on your mics because I just forgot to. So that was the big thing that happened over the last quarter. And then just planning for the Coastal Dune Lake Week that we're going to have in October. Okay. The next item on the agenda, unless you guys had any questions about the matrix, I apologize for that. Okay. The next item on the agenda is planning for the Coastal Dune Lake Week. So, as we've spoken about in the, at our past two meetings, we are going to be having Coastal Dune Lake Week, October 27th through the 31st of 2025. We have a lineup of tours that will be happening throughout the week, Monday through Friday. Those have all been confirmed. I'll be putting them on Eventbrite probably in August, so we have a little bit of time. And also coordinating with those who are doing those tours to make sure I cap it at a certain number. We'll also try to make notes because sometimes we've had some duplicate people who fill out the Eventbrite multiple times, but really there's only one person participating, and that unfortunately causes conflict for others who want to participate. So I'll try to make as many notes as possible for those who are signing up. We will have a Coastal Dune Lake Advisory Board meeting that week as well, and have our education series on resilience activities through Taylor Engineering, and we'll also have the water quality update through CBA. We are working on social media posts and mailouts. Mailouts will be, I've gotten the mailing addresses from GIS already, so we'll be ordering the supplies here soon so that we can start stuffing envelopes and try to get those out in the month of October, hopefully during that week, if not sooner, is the goal. We will also have some cleanups during that week. CBA will be hosting a water cleanup, and we'll probably just pick a day for a DIY cleanup on the beach near the Coastal Dune Lake Falls, that people can take their picture and put it on Facebook and just highlight their groups that are doing the cleanups. And then also the last thing I wanted to kind of highlight is that I did work with TDC. They have created a logo. You have it in your packets, but I wanted to present it to everybody. Hey, Dave. There are two. They're very much the same. This is the other one. One just has an inner circle associated with it. I thought they turned out very nice. So we're going to see about maybe trying to get t-shirts made. I'll probably not put the year on there so that they can be used later on as well if we have any extras. But I thought that would be a cute little additive to the celebration. Any thoughts or discussions on the logo or? Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely love the logo. This is so exciting. Would it be possible to perhaps do a bumper sticker?
I can see. Let me check with TDC. They may have some vendors that we can use that it won't be too expensive, and see about doing that. That's not a bad idea.
Thank you.
I think that could turn out to be a very nice, bumper sticker. So yes, let me check into it.
Secondly, are we just deciding between the two designs, or are they both? Or
Do you have, well, is there a preference? Let me just open that up.
the only difference that I see are the birds have flown a little bit further east, and the one with the singular border.
Yeah, one's a more zoomed in version and the other one, has a little bit broader of a focus. That's what it looks like to me.
I like big birds.
You like the big bird, so the single circle versus the double circle.
Me too.
I like that one as well.
Okay.
Good.
Mhm.
Yeah, we all like it.
Should we take a vote on this?
If you'd like to, that would be perfectly fine. I would be honored.
Do we have a motion for the choice of the second logo?
Motion for the second larger bird.
Motion. And a second? Any discussion? Anybody in the audience have a preference? Great. All in favor? Aye.
All right, that'll be the one we use then. I like it. All right, is there anything else that you guys want to have, do, suggest for Coastal Dune Lake Week? We will have the resolutions as well. I'll be sending those off. I think I've already sent them off to legal for review, and we'll get those in the first meeting of October, just so we can kind of highlight it around that time and people don't forget.
Are we gonna do a video like we did last year? Or reuse that same one?
We can. I actually have a commissioner who's interested in doing a highlight of the Coastal Dune Lake, so I was gonna recommend or suggest to him that maybe we do it closer to October and just broadcast that one. But we could do another one as one of the Facebook posts too, so yes, I'll coordinate that.
Okay. All right, so on to the OFW, which stands for Outstanding Florida Waters Discussion.
Yes, so in your packets, you have some information on OFWs. This was a topic that was brought up by Julia back in January, and unfortunately, just due to some family situations, she was not able to attend today. I can do a quick highlight of it, but if it's okay with the board, I would like to delay the actual discussion and conversation of it until next meeting where she can participate, because this was a topic that she was, very concerned about and wanted to hear more. But I did want to, I can kind of give you guys a quick history. We've gone through the research associated with the OFW, and that's what's in your packet. So feel free to review it, get a little bit more fluent in it, and if it's okay with the board, we'll bring it back in October and discuss a little bit more in detail. But what we found is the OFW designation, or the Outstanding Florida Water Body designation, that comes through the state of Florida, through the Department of Environmental Protection. What it does is there are some regulations associated with it, but all of our regulations and our comp plan and land development code exceed the protections that an OFW does. So that's one of the reasons why we did not pursue it in the past, because it doesn't really provide any additional protection than what our rules and regulations already do. We do a great job in Walton County protecting our coastal dune lakes when it comes to the regulations. Even when we did the environmental assessment, one thing that they really highlighted was that 100-foot setback that we have that's supposed to remain undisturbed works way better for water quality improvements than even like a retention pond would. because you have all that native vegetation that absorbs the nutrients and before it gets down to the lake. So those are all great things that we already have in place. And OFW can be a little, it's going to pursue it for other lakes. There are already some that have it. So Lake Powell has it, and all the ones that touch a state park are an OFW. So your Grayton Beach, Topsail, and Deer Lake, all those areas are considered OFWs, not the entire lake though. So to actually get the designation, we would have to have, I believe it's gonna be 100% consensus of all the riparian property owners, which might be the biggest challenge. So, we can discuss it further once you guys get that under your belt and read a little bit more on it and stuff and go from there. But I just wanted to provide that background.
Refresh what does the OFW designation do? Oh, sorry. Other than, I know you have a more stringent stormwater treatment requirement. What else, just real quick?
So the biggest thing with an OFW that would be different, so an OFW would require a 50-foot setback.
Okay,
And it also would require for docks. Docks is probably the biggest impact since Walton County does not permit dock structures. We leave that to the Florida Department of Environmental Protection unless there's electricity or water connection to the structure itself, which requires a building permit. Those particular, the dock itself, there's a 1,000-foot exemption in the Florida statutes. So if you have a dock that's less than 1,000 square feet, it is exempt, you can build it. If it's over that, then you require a permit. For an OFW, it's
That's not the
500
case.
square feet.
Okay.
So anything above 500 square feet, it would require a permit. So my concern also is that we do have several lakes that already have docks, and many of them probably are over 1,000 square feet, or at least over 500 square
Right.
feet. So should we have a catastrophic event, that can cause
Building them back.
conflict. And when docks are built structurally sound and environmentally well, they don't really impact a lake,
right.
like other activities, human activities around the lake.
Okay, all right, thanks.
The additional, the 50-foot, is that in addition to the already 100-foot that we have?
No, it would
So
not be
just would fall within that.
150. It would be just the first 50 is what's protected under an OFW.
Yeah, so we already have a more
Right.
stringent.
Correct.
Maximum, does that differentiate between the platform and the ramp, or is the dock considered those?
So it's anything over wetlands or water.
All right,
So if there's some up in the uplands, that particular square footage does not count against you when it comes to DEP regulations. However, anything over that wetland area, which is the wetland fringe of a lake, and over the water is what the square footage is. So it would need to be 500 square feet or less on or over water.
Any other questions?
I would think that it would be helpful to address lighting on docks, because when there's light on a dock, it's obviously over the water, and so it's almost like you're putting a candle in front of a mirror. I mean, it's definitely magnified, and of course, people need light for safety, and of course, you know, I can only imagine if you paddle and when it gets dark, I mean, you need a light on your dock to find your way home. But, on the other hand, if your dock is lit up like an airport landing runway, that's a lot, because it's reflected. I'm surprised there are no guidelines that address that.
but that would be outside the OFW discussion, probably.
Yeah,
That would be a county, probably a county issue.
Obviously, there is some overlap when it comes to the wildlife conservation zone, which is 750 feet from the mean-high water line. So that does capture quite a few of the docks that would be incorporated or that were built in a coastal dune lake. However, probably most of the northern docks, like over on Camp Creek on the north side of 38, are not included in that. So if those are the ones that you're seeing, then yeah, could be something that we could look into, or maybe even just provide a guidance document of recommendations. Hey, if you're gonna be doing this, you might wanna do down-facing lights or fully cut-off lights, with a lower wattage, as an option,
Absolutely.
something for guidance.
I think that would be really helpful. I think people that live on the lake obviously love the lake and love nature and probably appreciate, learning about ways to protect it.
So that we don't run afoul of Robert's rules, I want to ask for a motion to continue this to the next meeting.
Okay, I love your
Starting to
So
sound like the
moved.
planning commission now.
You're following directions here.
Also move that.
Need a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, building report.
All right, in your packets, you guys have a building report. I think there were a few applications that were received over the last quarter. So you have the, kind of the background, identification of where those are located in your packet. Next is the code compliance report. That is also located in your packet, with a list of a few code cases that have been received within the coastal dune lake protection zone. Any questions on either one of those? Then I will go into the, other updates, if that is okay with you all. So Public Works did not have any updates for me on any, projects that are on or around the coastal dune lakes at this time. Engineering is working on that Allen Loop project, so as I mentioned at the last meeting, we have received the funding through Restore to do the construction, and engineering is waiting until, I believe, after hurricane season to put it out to bid so that they can kind of work outside the hurricane season on it as much as possible. So that should be starting soon. Hopefully, I'll have a little bit more of an update in October on that, or at least that we've started the procurement process. And then TDC they have a couple of projects that they're working on, the Grayton Beach Public Access, so also known as the Community Center. That one is still ongoing. I think I mentioned at the last meeting, they had some issues with the dune crossover that was constructed. They've had to, I believe, rip it all out and start over again on it, unfortunately, but they're gonna get a good product at the end of the day. So that's going through right now, and then I believe, what's the other update?
Who's paying for that?
As an extra cost,
Ripping it out?
the contractor, as far as
Is it
I'm
a
aware.
contractor fault? Okay.
Yeah. And then we have, over at Oyster Lake, we have the two projects, that beautification project that's right off of 30A, where they've installed vegetation there. They did work with a private property owner who owns another little tiny strip right there off of 30A to install a well, so that's gonna be there to help, keep the vegetation fresh and alive. And then we also have the access to, the property that was purchased to the west of the Oyster Lake outfall. And TDC is working on some preliminary design, and we'll eventually take it to the public to review and get discussion on it. We are working on the joint coastal permit for Oyster Lake, so as you guys are all aware, we have 3 joint coastal permits to open up the outfalls for Alligator, Western, and Eastern lakes. Now we're working on one for Oyster Lake just because we've had to manipulate that particular outfall so much it will need some help. So we are working through that process. Army Corps has been, they were a little delayed for a little bit. Now they're back on track, and they have sent comments. We are working through our legal department on a couple of the comments that have come in, but we'll be responding to them by the end of August on that. So hopefully by the end of the year, we will have an actual permit from Army Corps of Engineers. We already have the one from DEP. And the other and last thing I want to highlight is I was contacted by the Tourist Development Department and the Visitor Center. They were actually contacted by the Friends of Camp Helen over off of Lake Powell. And the Friends of Camp Helen would like to do an education center at the park. And they would like for our TDC to help fund it and develop it and help provide that. Although that's in Bay County, we are the ones with the most background knowledge to coastal dune lake, so I'll be working with them and helping that coordination. So I believe our meeting was supposed to be in July. That didn't work out due to some scheduling conflicts, so we're trying to move that meeting into August, and hopefully in October I'll be able to give you a little bit more details on what that project's going to entail. But I think it'll be a good education and outreach piece for the coastal dune lakes, especially because we're expanding into Bay County, which does not have as much outreach when it comes to our coastal dune lakes.
I'm sorry, they don't have as much what?
They don't have as much education outreach. They don't
Oh,
have the
okay.
regulations or anything like that on their side of Lake Powell that we have.
Is this within the state park?
Yes. Yeah, the Friends of Camp Helen are the ones that are initiating it.
Okay.
Any other questions,
Loads,
comments?
but not for you.
Huh?
Loads, but not for you.
All right.
Okay,
Should-
so, Stephen, are you ready?
One quick question, Melinda.
Yes.
Do you know, just offhand, I know you said you didn't get a public works report, but is the Western Lake Bridge, is that still on schedule?
So I was trying to reach out to them yesterday to get an update, and I didn't get the contact until
Yeah.
really late, so I didn't get a chance to get that update, but let me work on that. I'll shoot you an email.
I'm just curious, it looks like it's
You
taking
think
a
it's
while.
delayed?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll look into it.
All right,
That's one
thanks.
thing I wanted to do, I just didn't get that done.
Thank you.
All right.
Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you. My name is Stephen Schoen, for those of you that don't know me. I am the interim director of the planning department, and I am here to talk to you about what DPZ has proposed in terms of our comprehensive plan conservation element and our coastal protection, our coastal management element. I'm hoping that you got the information I provided.
Yep.
That's it, right there. Thank you. So as you can see, the conservation recommendations, they really don't approach the coastal dune lake protection areas or management. So I'm just, while some of those obviously will have some tertiary effects and some benefits to just the coastal dune lake protection and management programs, they aren't directly related to that. So I'm going to go ahead and skip through the conservation element recommendations unless there's anything in there you'd like to discuss or ask questions about. I'll move into the next element, the coastal management element.
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. All right, so on page 28, I'm not sure if you guys have page numbers or not.
There's two different ones. There's, page, the one on the left, we got page, okay.
Yeah, that's it. So under the coastal management summary policies, you'll see that there are three specific ones that speak to the coastal dune lake development protections or management. You'll see the first policy, CM-1.1, strengthens development regulations around coastal dune lakes by increasing shoreline setbacks, prohibiting seawalls, requiring green infrastructure, stormwater plans, and and limiting impervious surfaces and vegetative clearing. So I do want to just say one thing before I do continue. I'm not sure how familiar you are with Senate Bill 180, but that is something that the legislature has recently adopted, passed. Governor DeSantis signed it. And what it is essentially it's an emergency management piece of legislation. But the way it's framed and written, it really serves to tie our hands and any municipal government really in Florida's hands currently. There's very specific language in there, and as it relates to Walton County, there are 3 storms that are listed, Debbie and some others, but we were specifically called out in the emergency order that was issued by the governor, which means that we fall under the umbrella of 180, which limits our ability to adopt anything that could be perceived as more burdensome, policy, standard, et cetera, procedure for that matter, until October of 2027. And then there's also a standard in there that limits our ability to do that a year after any storm event that we are listed in that executive order, emergency order. So what that does currently is it ties our hands, and again, every municipal government essentially, until until either the legislation changes or until October of 27, assuming we don't get a storm within the Panhandle, really, that would serve to stretch that time frame out. So what I'm going to go through here, if there is a perception by the board's attorney or the board that some of these things could be considered more burdensome, and I strongly suspect they probably will be, these may be pulled from the final draft that is ultimately approved by the board and that goes to the state. So I just wanted to put that out there because that's an important piece of information that you all should be aware of. So when this very first line says strengthens development regulations around Dune Lakes, that would absolutely be perceived as more burdensome by developers and property owners that would like to continue the status quo. And so just, again, some of these things may be trimmed down or pulled out entirely, depending on the direction from the board. So,
Can I ask, what's the October 27, what's the significance of that?
so that is the date that's indicated in the legislation itself. So if we were,
Any reason for that particular that you know?
no, I don't know. I mean, I could speculate all day long about why some of those things
So
are in
what
there.
is it, sunset then, or I mean, is that just does it end then, or
I really,
you don't know?
yeah, nothing
All right,
that I'd
good
be
enough.
willing to hang my hat on anyways.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's fine.
It doesn't sunset then. The legislation continues out from then. So if there is a storm
Yeah.
in August of 27 and we are under the umbrella of an emergency order, the declaration, then it would continue on
Right.
for whatever another year.
Yep.
From that point. And
Okay.
so every year that we have a storm and we're under that emergency declaration, it'll just keep continuing on. So it could continue indefinitely,
Okay.
depending on nature, basically at this point.
Right.
Right.
And I do believe the 3 years was in there because of the length of time some communities have in responding and getting money and being able to fix their homes, their infrastructure, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I have to believe that was the reason why the 3 years was chosen, based on what I've seen, so.
that's my understanding as well, but it was just speculation. It wasn't outlined in the legislation, so I'm not.
I highly suggest if you get a chance,
Read the bill.
read the bill.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah, but because I'm here and this information's in here, I will go ahead and proceed and go through these. So I'll just go ahead and read the policy recommendations, and then we can, go through the discussion pieces in there if you'd like, or you can ask questions however you'd like to. So I went through, bless you, so policy, and again, these are all existing policies, the ones that I'm going to go through, but they're just proposing modifications, again, to strengthen regulations and, increase some of these other restrictions that we currently have. So Under policy CM-1.1.2, this is seeking to enhance community participation by establishing structured public input processes in lake management decisions, including forums, surveys, and citizen science initiatives. So I think that really speaks to the process of this body here, and potentially improving some of the current mechanisms for public input and some of those items that relate to that sort of education process. And that sort of feedback from the public input. And then the next policy is CM-1.1.6, which is really just speaking to a sunset of any, non-central sewer, septic systems within the dune lakes and sort of tributary areas. And I don't know how important this particular policy modification is. I'm not sure how many septic tanks still exist within these areas. Sewer is available, I believe, throughout all of South Walton, maybe a few minor exceptions, but I believe that's not around the coastal dune lakes. I don't have those figures, so I don't know for sure. But it's something that we would not entertain now, just as a matter of policy at the planning department. Any development that would come in South Walton would be required to connect to central water and sewer. So I think this is just a recommendation from one of the subcontractors that really wants to see it, or suggests that it should be clear in our code and our comp plan, and not just a matter of fact that that's the situation on the ground regardless. So those are really the three primary ones that speak specifically to dune lake protection and the board's efforts moving forward. So again, we can kind of go through some of these discussion items that relate to those policies. We can just have a discussion in general, however you would like to proceed.
The septic, has that ran out?
It has. So we were able to capture, I think it was around 41 properties and put them onto sewer. There were still a few remaining, but many of those were going into redevelopment anyways, and despite the fact that they chose not to utilize the grant funds, they were going to be required to hook up to sewer. So as Stephen was mentioning, what this does, this language was technically already in the code, or in the comprehensive plan. It already stated that that's the desires of the board to have all these, all the coastal dune lakes on sewer versus septic. It's just that as the infrastructure gradually got there, that's when they could hook up.
Okay. And that was Dune Lake.
I think there's one community off of a coastal dune lake that does not have central sewer throughout their subdivision. It's gonna be very expensive. The last time I talked to regional utilities, I think they're actually looking at putting it in. So I'll have to verify that, but it was only one community. Everybody else has access to it.
Yeah, I thought septic tanks weren't permitted where there was access to public sewer. Is that not the case?
That's,
Once
I
they
mean,
go
there's a
bad.
Florida statute as well as our comprehensive
Yeah.
plan that stated
Uh-huh.
otherwise, but,
What do
I
you
mean,
do?
unfortunately, there were times when maybe it wasn't as enforced, but now it's being more heavily enforced on that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, just to add to that, any new development that came in currently, they would be required to connect to central water.
Makes
So,
sense.
That would be considered that could be considered a resiliency piece too, which, if it's included in our resiliency determinations, we could seek other money, especially if the number of, that are left is low enough.
Yeah.
Then we'd have access to more grant money to remove them off of there, make
Yeah,
it
that's
make it
correct.
worth it.
And we're looking at other areas within Walton County that could value from that type of funding mechanism as well, and incorporating it into the vulnerability assessment.
Great.
Like the bay itself.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions, discussion? Great.
All right. Okay. Thank you all.
Thanks, Stephen.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
All right, I don't see CBA here. Okay, and are there any public comments from anybody who would like to bring up, you can address anything you want here. Open book. No? Great. Anything else from the board?
I just want to thank Melinda for putting together, showing us all the different rules for the, Florida Outstanding Waterway and then what we have in Martin County. It was really helpful. That took a lot of time. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Okay, when's our next meeting? October, right?
October.
October, Coastal Dune Lake Week.
Coastal Dune Lake.
Exciting time. All right,
Same
motion to
place.
adjourn?
Is that the, okay, yes, so moved.
Without objection.